Have been fantastic. Alright then guys, welcome to game 3 now between PL and Don't Lame Us Please. It's been a fantastic couple of games so far, with PL getting that second game as a victory, making it 1-1 so far in this series. Both teams have played very well so far this series as well, with the Don't Lame Us Please team managing to get that victory in the first game, which means that it is still all to play for. It is always all to play for, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this series will end up. Obviously, a 1-1 start is always a good start. Now, game number 3 will be on the map Caribbean. It is the War is Coming map pack, but Caribbean is the map from it, and this map has been kind of under a lot of what's the word? It's been scrutinized by a lot of players recently because it has had quite a few bugs. And we'll quickly check the map very shortly to make sure there are no bugs, because players sometimes won't realize that the map is bugged until quite some time into the game, at which point it's kind of a little bit late to restart. You've missed your opportunity to restart, and they might not want to call a due to a bugged map at 40 minutes in when you realise. The bugs in this map have basically been where one player does not have stone on their island at all, and we'll basically make sure that all players have stone. And I think that's probably going to be the case, otherwise they will have restarted, but we'll have a check anyway to make sure. But yes, PL versus Don't Lame Us Please, and off to the northeast of the map in the orange here, we've got PL Remy playing as the Celts. His teammates down to the south of him in the, in the pocket position. We've got PL Jamjack playing as the Mongols in the grey. On the flank position, we've got PL WiC Group playing in the green as the Vikings. WiC Group starting to become my favourite name of all players in AOC history. WiC Group, it's such a nice name to say. I like it. It's very good. And up to the very north of the map, on the other flank, we've got PL Jack playing as the Franks in the teal. So this map, once again, will probably be mostly water-orientated, and we've seen already that the PL teams seem to have the advantage in water, but this could be a good opportunity for Don't Lame Us Please to show us what they're made of on the water here. And for Don't Lame Us Please, up to the northwest of the map in the blue, we've got Mr. Spring playing as the Persians. And he is, well, looking like a bit of a weak link at the moment, let's be honest. He's kind of not playing as well as the other guys, it seems. In that last game, Spring certainly lost his docks first. Spring certainly let the other guys into their base. And I mean, you've got to kind of, you can't point the finger and say, Spring, it was all your fault, but it definitely didn't seem like he had the best game last time round, and I know he's capable of some great things, so I'm wondering why it was that he's not had the best game so far. But there you go, Spring up in the north there, in the pocket position for their team in the far west. In the purple, we've got Vic Winchester playing as the Aztecs. Winchester, probably one of the stronger players for his team. Winchester's been playing well in all of these games so far. There's some pretty good performances from him. In the other pocket position, we've got Vic DFS in the yellow, and he's playing as the Spanish here. And down to the very south on that flank, we've got Vic Warrior playing as the Koreans in the red. So the flanks here are going to be Vikings versus Koreans in the south. Vikings on the PL team, looking pretty unfortunate for Vic Warrior down there. Vic Warrior did lose the water pretty quickly when he was playing Vikings in the last game, and he has lost a villager here as well, which is a pretty shaky start for him. Getting a loom now as well quite early, just to make sure that he doesn't lose those villagers. PL WiC Group getting a loom as well, but obviously losing a villager this early on, not ideal. And that puts Vic Warrior in last place in the scores, which means his feudal time will be delayed. Consequently, his grush will be delayed, and that means that WiC Group should have a nice advantage here going up to the feudal age, especially as the Vikings. In the north, of course, we've got Spring as the Persians, and we've got Jack as the Franks. And looking at their dock locations, Jack actually docking quite close to the centre of the map, whereas Spring with a very defensive dock on this left side, playing that really kind of defensively. We might not see a really fast feudal from him. We may end up seeing a little bit more of a a kind of, a fast castle strategy even. This map has got quite a long distance to travel between the docks, and that's certainly an opportunity. Similar to migration, I guess. You've got a long way to travel in migration as well, hence why players, generally speaking, put up or make more fishing ships and go for a fast castle in that map as well. Now, I'm just having a quick look. Is it just me, or is there only one boar on this map? I think there might only be one boar, It seems like there is, and that's actually an interesting little spanner that's been thrown into the works. A single boar. How many sheep are there? It looks like, now I may have missed this, but it looks like there are standard sheep. But there's also a deer patch, which most players now, you can see, are luring in towards their mills or their town centers or whatever they're doing. But yeah, it looks like this map might be played a little bit more like migration, because they don't quite have those standard resources. They don't quite have the double boar. They don't have the... They don't have potentially all of the sheep as well. So we're probably going to see the pocket players adding in, 2 docks maybe. Even the flank player here, WiC Warrior, adding in a second dock as well. So... yeah, it's kind of strange. Obviously, they are going to be doing a lot more galleys. What? They're going to be doing a lot more fishing ships in the Dark Age, it seems. But in fact, we've got Feudal Age coming in for Remy already. So perhaps that's Feudal time not delayed too much for some players. In fact, most players up to Feudal, or some players up to Feudal quite early. Have a look here. Jamjack really early on his Feudal upgrade compared to everyone else, which is pretty impressive considering he only had 1 boar here. And these guys are not going to play it like migration at all, which is quite something. Now, I was saying before about stone, like, not being on people's island. It looks like the stone is there for everybody this game. I remember watching a game with Fiage playing this map with his team, and they had no stone on Fiage's island, which kind of sucked and cost them the game ultimately. So... yeah, it seems like everyone's got stone. At least some stone. I mean, this is where it gets a little bit unfair. Why does WiC Warrior have 1 stone pile and 3 gold piles? I would love to know, because everyone else seems to have 2 stone and 2 gold. So it's that kind of inconsistency there that makes these maps a little bit unfair. And I shouldn't really criticize too much, but this is a big tournament. And it seems really unfair to me that some people have 3 gold and gold piles and some people have 2. That really kind of sucks, It just doesn't quite make sense to me. So yeah, I think this is kind of an awkward map for some players. Certainly some players have more gold than others. I mean, looking around, some have 3, some have 2. Some have 1 stone pile, some have 2, some have 3. It's just a little bit all over the place, and I'm not sure if I like it that much just because of that kind of unbalanced map generation. Kind of sucks if you get on the wrong end of the bargain there. So, Feudal Age upgrade coming in for pretty much everybody, aside from WiC Warrior. WiC Warrior's still in the Dark Age here, and he's having a pretty tough time. He's adding in more fishing ships. He's actually housed at the moment. Obviously, he lost that villager early on. He's taken his boar. He's lured his deer. The deer that he... oh, has he lured his deer? I think that's probably why he's having a tough time, because he's not taken these deer. And meanwhile, on the flank, Bitey Cablum is coming in with those galleys, and poor WiC Warrior still not clicked up to Feudal yet. And he's already losing his fishing ships. This is a really bad start for him. And again, I'm not sure if those deer are his only deer patch. It seems to me like everybody's taken the deer. You see them all next to the town centers here. The deer basically being brought in by everybody in this game. However, I don't know, I mean, Warrior could have lured them in, but it would have been very difficult. It would have been a really long lure, and maybe other people just had better deer locations, because I see deer under pretty much everybody's town center at the moment, or either that or no deer on the island at all. So I feel like perhaps Warrior's deer were a little bit far away from him, and that's really unfortunate. At the end of this game, I'm going to go right back to the start. I'm going to rewind right to the start, and I'm going to check very quickly at the end of the game, just to see where everyone else's deer were in relation, because WiC Warrior is only just clicking up to Feudal now. Everybody else is Feudal and have been Feudal for some time. Other players now getting up to the Castle Age already, whilst WiC Warrior in the south is losing all of his fishing ships to these galleys from Bitey Cablum, and I feel that is really unfortunate from him. We've also got Spring now being attacked as well. He's starting to lose his fishing ships down here, and Remy and what's his name, Jack, making quite a few galleys. These guys, the PL team, getting aggressive quite early. Meanwhile, Spring fast castling. We've got Winchester fast castling as well, and DFS doing the same. Whilst the PL guys mostly remain in the feudal age for now and focus on doing a galley rush. But look at this, WiC Group, so many kills in the south of the map. Jamjack's down here to get in on the action as well, and 14 fishing ships have been killed already for the green player here, and this is really bad for the Don't Lame Us Please team. Vic Warrior losing 12 fishing ships, and he's only just 70% up to the castle age. Look at the farms around his mill here. I feel really sorry for this guy because, I mean, it's obviously not worked out quite how he would have liked to. He should have had those deer, that's the thing, but the deer was so far out. Perhaps he could have built a mill there or something just to get a bit of extra food, but it looks at the moment like PL are all over this. The docks from DFS are being taken down already. Spring's lost all of his fishing ships, and it's not looking good. Well, he's not lost them yet, actually. But they're not exactly working either. They've kind of just been moved out of the way, moved into safety. So the Castle Age upgrade is in for a couple of the Don't Lame Us Please team. DFS is on the way up. Winchester and Spring are castle now, though. But Spring is losing his dock, and at the moment he doesn't actually have a second dock either. It's going to be pretty difficult for Spring to make a second dock in this location. But Spring actually going straight into fire ships. I like that decision. I like it a lot. It's not very often that you get to see fire ships. And in fact, Winchester going into fire ships as well, and the Aztecs probably better off going into fires ultimately because they can't upgrade to galleon. They don't have the galleon upgrade. However, 1 or 2 fire ships coming in here is not going to be enough. 1 or 2 is just simply not enough, and PL already seem to have pretty much full water control. Spring adding in another fire ship, but ultimately, yeah, I mean, the fire ship's just not going to be able to hold out here. They need a few more, I feel. They need a few more. Meanwhile, in the south, we've got a landing coming in. WiC Group here onto Vic Warrior. And these guys obviously losing all of their fishing ships so far. Unable to really get onto the water. And Group building an archery range, sending his villagers back. Just, you know, build a full archery range there. Make Warrior build a watchtower. And Group could come up here and come around the back, but Warrior's going to wall that off with stone, costing him even more resources. But nice! Quite a few fire ships out, and that's what we like to see. We like to see the fire ships. It's a shame that fire ships don't really do their job, because fire ships suck, quite frankly. Especially, you know, once the enemy has enough galleys massed up, fire ships just don't do enough damage. They need a buff, and they have been given a buff in the Forgotten Empires. They've been given a buff in Carlos Ferdinand's balance patch. But general, normal AOC, fire ships do not work, and this is why water wars generally end up being a one-unit war. It's because galleys are just so much better than everything else. I mean, galleys kill demolition ships really quickly because the demolition ships explode before they can reach the galleys. Galleys kill fire ships because with any amount of micro or any advantage in numbers, the galleys can basically just hit and run and take them out really quickly because the fire ship actually has less health and it also has the same pierce armor. So, I mean, the galleys here, look, just, yeah, fire ship dead. Of course, that's one fire ship versus about, what, 10 galleys or so, but even still, the fire ships basically don't do their job properly, and as a result, because you don't see enough fire ships, you also don't see demo ships, which are supposed to counter fire ships. So we'll see what happens here. Obviously, Winchester bringing in a few more, and it's nice to actually see these guys making some fires, and Remy should probably micro away here, but he has got so many ships that he can basically two-shot these fires at the moment, and the fires just don't put out enough damage at the moment. But yeah, I mean, they basically move back, attack, move back, attack, move back, attack, and I mean, these fires are getting picked off before they can even get into range most of the time, and that's really not good. Kills for Remy, 13 kills, and he's lost no galleys yet. He's just lost his first galley right there. Meanwhile, Winchester's lost 10 galleys so far, and not galleys, he's lost about 10 fire ships and a couple of what they called fishing ships as well. So fire ships a bad idea, unfortunately, and it seems to me like the PL guys have got this game in the bag at the moment. Cablum is coming in at the south, still sending some villagers forward, still landing with these archers, and he's going to send them around the bottom. Granted, this is walled up from Warrior, but Warrior is basically going to have a tough time at this rate, because he's still going to be struggling. Because now he's up to the castle age, that's great, but what is he going to do next? Put up a castle? Well, he's got a lot of stone to go before he can make a castle. Where's he going to put a TC? Well, you can put one here and maybe build some villages and build some farms, but he can't put one anywhere near to the shore because it will go down to the ships from the other team. So Warrior's now up to the castle age, everybody is now castle. But PL basically have all of the war galleys. Longboats, someone asking in the chat about longboats. Longboats not really a viable option either, because in order to make longboats you have to make a castle, and that's the prerequisite, of course. If you make a castle, then by the time you've made a castle, your opponent's going to have a lot more galleys on the water than you, and you're going to struggle. The only real time that longboats are viable is if you're in the Imperial Age, and you've lost the water, and you upgrade to the elite longboat, and then you build a bunch of docks, and basically, if you are pushed off of the water and you want to regain it, and I'll tell you more in a second. Dale Andrew Darling just donated $15. Thank you very much, man. Chat shout outs to Kieran92, Toby1248, and Chasens. There you go. Dale Andrew Darling, big shout out to those guys from him, and also from me now as well, because I read their names. Thank you very much for your donation, man. I really appreciate it. But like I was saying about longboats, the only time they're really viable is if you're trying to regain water. So if you've been pushed off of water, you rebuild your docks, and you've got the elite longboat done, then you can make longboats because they are a lot faster to create. And they're about, they're about on par with galleons. They are roughly on par with galleons, but they basically just create a lot faster. That's the advantage to them. The DFS here trying to do a landing, but nope. That's going to get shut down pretty quickly, losing his transport ship there and his conquistadors. Gonna have to go back as well, and this is a real problem. Meanwhile, in the north of the map, we've got knights coming into Spring. He's been landed with a couple of stables and a siege workshop. Spring's TC being focused down by these rams here. There's galleys at the back of his map, and PL are walking all over this game. There's no question that they have this game in the bag at the moment. There is no question about it. PL Jack gonna get a couple of kills. These villagers here just dying to this castle, and Spring at the moment is pretty much humiliation. He's humiliated. What's he gonna do in this situation? He's got nothing on the water. Jack coming in with those knights, just cleaning up his villagers. Spring so far 2 kills, 39 losses, and he's just basically getting wiped out by these knights, and there's nothing at the moment that he is able to do. He's got a castle up, whoop-de-doo. He's going to be able to defend a little bit of his eco, and he's going to be able to delay the inevitable, which is defeat at this point in time. I feel very bad for the Don't Lame Us Please team, and like I said, at the very end of this game, I will skip back to the start just to check the deer locations. I feel like their strategy overall was a little bit risky, doing the fast castles and not making many galleys in the feudal age. Obviously, it's not paid off so far, and all those galleys at the back clustering around to try and take down that town centre from Spring, and it's over. It is over. But these guys don't want to admit that it's over yet. They're still fighting. They're going to go down fighting, and they did it last time as well, which is all well and good. But yeah, Warrior now still only on 1 TC. His villagers forced back into the town centre. He's got very little resource income. In fact, the red player has 2 villagers taking stone and 1 villager taking food at the moment, and that is it. You cannot gather any resources at this point in time. Castle going up on the shoreline for Winchester, and he's going to try and retake the water with maybe some galleys this time. We'll see. Obviously, the fire ships did not work out. They did not fulfill their purpose. Unfortunately, Winchester's going back into fire ships again, and Winchester's actually on the way up to the Imperial Age, so we might see him make some, fast fire ships, which would be fantastic. Winchester, clearly the MVP for his team at this point in time, but he's not exactly winning either, which is rather unfortunate. A couple of fires coming out, but what is a single fire ship to 20 or so galleys? It is dead to them. I think he's waiting for the Imperial Age so that he can get the fast fire ship upgrade, but by the time he reaches Imperial, at this rate, he will have lost his docks again. And like I said, it is GG at this point for Don't Lame Us Please, but for some reason they are continuing to play on. I don't see what they are going to be able to do to come back into it. This is the problem with water maps. Once you've lost the water, you've pretty much lost the game, unless you can somehow regain the water. And how often does that happen? It just doesn't happen. You know, very occasionally it might, but yeah. Add gold 90 just donated $32. Wow, thank you so much, man. He said, if trushed with castles, you are getting crushed. Yes, you are. That's fantastic. I didn't even think of it that way. Trushed with castles equals crushed, and you are getting crushed, because if you are getting crushed by castles, something has seriously gone wrong. But thank you very much, man, for your donation. I really appreciate it. And what else can I say? But thank you, and thank you all for tuning in as well. It seems like they paused here, but they are continuing, and Don't Lame Us Please are continuing to die, slowly but surely. And more towers going up for Warrior here, but he's surrounded. DFS perhaps going to try and get back onto the water. The occasional castle on the shoreline there. And actually, Winchester is researching War Galley at the moment. He's got another castle on the south of the map, and he's trying to add more fires, and he's adding in more docks. But I'm surprised he's not doing fast fire at the moment. I'm very surprised he's not doing that. But yeah, I don't know. I really feel like PL just had a better strategy, you know, just getting the water control early and then holding it. It's much easier to do that than lose water control and then try and regain it later on. And we saw it in the last game with Winchester as well. He tried to retake the water control later, but he just couldn't do it. And I mean, there's a lot of fire ships coming out. The fast fire ship upgrade is being researched. Now, this could make a little bit of a difference. And I tell you what, I actually cannot remember the last time that I saw fast fire ship in an Age of Empires game. So, I mean, it's kind of exciting, let's be honest. We get to see the fast fire ship, which is something that we don't see very often. So, thank you, Jam Jack, Winchester even, for giving us this. There we go, the fast fire ship. Everybody, it's in action. 3 attack, but yeah, attacking very quickly, of course. 120 health, 8 pierce armor, and that is a little bit more than the 6+1 of the War Galley. Let's see what these guys can do. They have faster movement speed as well, so they can chase down War Galleys that are running away. Fast fire ships definitely more viable, but let's see if they do enough damage here to the orange player. So far, so good, actually. I mean, getting a couple of quick kills there, but got to be very careful not to leave his units out in the open here. 2 of these units get sniped pretty quickly, and yeah, I want to see the fast fires, like, laying down the damage. Come on, kill some ships. There we go. They're going down. They're melting. They're melting into the ocean. I love it. Winchester, is this the comeback that they need? Maybe. Spring making some monks in the north, trying to get some conversions. Jack converting them right back again. And Spring deleting the knight so that Jack couldn't get it back. But yeah, Spring's down to 2 TCs still defending like crazy. Actually putting up some more docks now as well. And this will be the comeback of the century if these guys manage to do it. But Warrior's very much out of the game at the moment. He's still being rushed down. He's got no access to gold. He's got very little access to anything at this point. But hey, the fast fires from Winchester are gonna win, right? No, they're not. PL Remy upgrading to Galleon, and suddenly there's no fire ships left, because the fire ships just don't do their job properly, and Remy is gonna just own him with galleons. Even if there's fire ships here, the galleons will win, basically. War galleys from Winchester. He can't upgrade them to Galleon. We've got galleys coming out for Spring, for Christ's sake. This is over now. The galleys are not going to be able to survive against Galleon. And Imperial Age for all of the PL players. So, Imperial Age now for Jack. He's going to put a castle on the center, on the top even, and take down that castle from Spring. That's not going to be lasting very long at all. And I just feel like the fire ships I wish they'd do their job, but they don't do their job, and they are dying so quickly. Oh, wait! The flank attack! Winchester coming in, trying to flank Remy. Is Remy going to survive? Is he going to survive this? That's the question. The fire ships are rolling on through. Remy's not microing his units, and suddenly it looks like he might lose his galleons. Is it going to happen? He's bringing more over. Oh, will he lose them? Oh no, he won't lose his galleons, because the fire ships don't do their jobs properly. Time and time again, we will see this situation. The galleons are still very much alive, and the fire ships are very much sunk. And all of the sailors are swimming at the bottom of the ocean there. Landing now coming in on the pocket player, and castles coming up for Bitey Cablum here. And I just wish that something would be viable here. The problem is, because Winchester, is the Aztecs, he can't upgrade to galleon, and as he can't upgrade to galleon, he's got no option but to make fire ships. The problem is the fire ships just don't do enough damage. But there you go, got a few kills over there. Winchester, 56 kills and 78 losses. Not too shabby, actually. But still, the guys in the south, the guys in the north, Spring getting taken down. There's Cavalier on his castle now. The Caps Ram upgrade coming in as well, or done. We've even got a War Elephant for Jack, because he converted one of Spring's, and Spring basically doesn't have anything left. And surprisingly, Warrior's still going, but Warrior at the moment can't have much population. He's got 26 population, Springer's got 50 and rapidly dropping as his TCs get taken out. He's got some war galleys out, but what are war galleys when facing up against massed galleons like that? Winchester's coming in for round 2 with the fire ships. Maybe this time he will take the galleons out. Maybe this time the galleons will crumble to the mighty fire ships. The ships that literally spew fire from over... no. They're also dead once again, and the galleons are still alive, and the galleons are still just OP. So there you go, Spring's lost his last town centre. That one's gonna fall, and unfortunately, it looks like, well, unfortunately for Don't Lame Us Please, it looks like the PL guys are gonna get a win here. We got castles being landed on DFS, and there's the GG. It's about time, guys. It is about time. But a valiant effort, nevertheless. A valiant effort to get back onto the water. Winchester giving it one last go. But no, of course, the fire ships did not prevail. So yeah, it was a pretty good game for PL. They had that from so early on. They had pretty much won that from about, well, 15 to 20 minutes after Vic Warrior could not get up to the feudal age. Unfortunately, he just had a terrible map, I think. And like I said, I'm going to quickly look, go back to the start. I'm going to reload the game very quickly. And we're just going to quickly check now. I paused it right at the start. And we'll just see why Warrior struggled there. Now, if you have a look, every other player seemed to lure their boar. Now, Warrior's deer were all the way over here. He basically had no choice to lure them, because if he didn't lure them, he would have been slow. Everybody else's deer seems reasonably close. That deer quite close there. The deer are pretty close here as well. I know they're a little bit behind the trees, pretty close. The deer for Spring are behind the wood. So yeah, I don't think Warrior... Oh, okay. I got a donation. Toby1248 donated $1.57. You all just lost the game. Just like, don't lame us, please. Well, there you go. I lost the game. You lost the game. We all lost the game. But yeah, these deer from Warrior, they were a bit far, but I don't think it was necessarily unfair. I think he just didn't lure them, and that was the reason why he had a bad feudal time. That cost them a lot. But generally speaking, PL just had the better strategy, like I said earlier on. Don't Lame Us Please tried to basically fast castle and take it from there, and they just couldn't do it. So well played to PL. They did have a good game. They did have a very definitive, decisive victory, and that's going to make it 2-1